Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to HJBC. Welcome to our coverage of Reddit iRacing League. It's season 25. This is round 5. It's all GT3s at Suzuka for a 1-hour race. We've got Audis, BMWs, Mercedes, some Ferraris out there, as well as a Ford GT3. I'm not sure I've seen anyone giving the McLaren a spin, but it was certainly an option. All 6 manufacturers available. I am David Haynes. Alongside me is going to be Aaron Thacker. Our beautiful producer is going to be Michael Derby. And it's qualifying underway right now, 4 minutes left of that. And what do you make of the qualifying order as it is right now, Aaron?
Yeah, David, it is a very interesting bunch right now. Let's take a quick rundown on the championship points. So Giovanni Romano is in the lead by 6 points over Alex Albert with 188 points. Alex Albert in 182, followed by Tom Ellis in 163, John Patrick 148, and rounding out your top 5, Alex Crawford with 135 points. And so that is your points battle right now, David. Our starting grid potentially is Alex Crawford in P1, Jeff Tyler P2, and Alex Albert in P3, John Patrick in P4. So, David, you're recognizing a lot of the names in the top of the points inside that top qualifying group with about 3 minutes left in qualifying.
Yeah, and the top echelon of our qualifying so far really dominated by those Audis, BMWs, and Mercedes. Giovanni Romano in 7th. It's the first Ferrari. And then Andrew Fawcett taking a big gamble on that Ford GT. Yeah, older specification on GT3 guys, but it's not really worked out for him. All options were on the table for car choice, and it was open for what the drivers wanted to pick. I think some options might have been a slightly safer bet than others.
Yeah, I really think the safest option, you're going to see a lot of Mercs tonight, David. That is a very, very stable car. If anybody watched the 24 hours of Nürburgring, the mix of BMWs and Mercedes was pretty balanced. I think some pretty stable setups out there in the Merc, but I think the BMW may have some advantage on the top end. So it'll be interesting to watch with some of these very long straights here, with some of these guys choosing the Z tonight of who's going to take an advantage of some big straights and maybe some top end speed.
Yeah, having a look, I think it's Jordan Babcock with the only McLaren. That's a car that's quick in a straight line as well, but the tail gets very, very wiggly. So that'll be tough, especially in a longer stint. And of course, this is an hour-long race. A fuel restriction of 76% means we'll probably see people going as far as 45 minutes or so, maybe a teeny bit longer on a tank of fuel. But no doubt everyone's going to need a pit stop. The pit window will open, I think, definitely in the first 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, they definitely will. And David, let's also keep in mind that we are starting pretty late local time here in Suzuka. So by the end of this race, we are going to see the track lights on, some headlights on, and it's going to be extremely dark. So these boys need to practice their braking markers and looking out for their apexes right now, because it's going to be extremely difficult by late mid-race and by the end of this race. It's going to be very dark out there, and without a car in front of you, you're going to make sure that you've got your spots just right, because mistakes will happen in that pitch black.
Of course, Suzuka is not an easy circuit during the daytime either. Known for all of that elevation change, a lot of different types of corners. Of course, the S's in the first sector will really test out the balance of your car. And then things like the hairpin spoon corner off camber, and then 130R. That's a very, very quick corner. There's just a little bit of a lift, maybe a tap on the brakes in cars like these. But very, very fast, and a lot can go wrong for you very quickly there.
Yeah, it really can. And I think with the right setup here, David, you mentioned that 130R corner. We all just love that corner. We all love driving that corner, but we're really going to have to watch like who's got the setup to just and have the guts to not lift there, because I think coming down the end there, that final chicane is a very difficult place to pass, David. But if you can get a run, you can really close out some final positions here. David, it looks like the checkered flag is out. Do we have anybody on track who could potentially move up one more spot as we close out this qualifying period with just over 2 minutes left?
Remains to be seen, I think. But of course, as you mentioned, time expired on the qualifying session, checkered flag in the air. Time for every driver who is on a lap to be able to finish it. Jeff Tyler is still out there and running. So is Alex Albert, Tom Ellison, Brian Molitor, Andrew Fawcett. Let's see if he can improve from 14th place. Devin Peters logs an improvement and moves up to 13th. So there's definitely some evolution out there. Getting later into this evening, track temperatures have dropped maybe just a little bit. Definitely possible for some drivers to improve on this lap right now.
Yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on things. Yeah, David, it looks like I just don't think anybody's going to be able to challenge Alex Cofford with that blazing 157.670. Jeff Tyler is just a hair off with a 157.978. But my goodness, what an extremely fast lap by Alex Cofford, David, who is P5 in our points right now. So that is a very advantageous position for him to grab that top spot in this very difficult hour-long race tonight.
Yeah, could have been an inspired choice for the Audi for him, because it's definitely paying its dividends. He's been at the top of the timing table for qualifying for quite some time as Alex Coffard, and as time elapses, Andrew Fawcett is not going to be able to improve. Alex Albert is not going to be able to improve. I think our grid is just about locked in now, so Coffard will, I believe, take pole position for this race.
Yeah, it looks like that is going to be the case, David. And yeah, there's still a few cars out there, but I believe that we are absolutely locked with our grid. So I'm going to let you let the viewers know what our top 10 looks like.
So on pole position, Alex Coffard. Alongside him is going to be Jeff Tyler. Second row will be Alex Albert. Second in the points and hoping for a good result here. Alongside him is going to be John Patrick. Fifth is going to be Nate Franklin. Sixth is your points leader, defending champion Giovanni Romano. Seventh, Tommy Ovelson. Eighth is Brian Molitor. Ninth is going to be Jeremy Rogers. And 10th, it's a good showing for Shane Cameron.
Yeah, really good doing for Shane Cameron. David Hall is going to be our first car just outside of the top 10 in P11 with a 1:59.4. Dylan Blanton in P12, Devin Peters P13, Ryan Verholz P14, Chris Fleming P15, Andrew Fawcett P16, Jordan Babcock and Babs Nation are coming in at P17 tonight. Daniel Bartz P18, Alexander Bueller P19, and rounding out our field of 20 cars tonight, Justin Lamans with a 2:02.713 in P20. David.
Yeah, nice round number of 20 entries for this race. That's not bad whatsoever. It's going to be a rolling start, so all the cars line up just before 1:30R. And once they're all on the grid, our lovely Porsche safety car will lead them down. They'll pull into the pit lane just after Casio Triangle. It'll be Alex Coffard's job to lead 20 cars to a green flag on 1 hour of racing around Suzuka circuit. Just the typical Grand Prix layout. No messing about here. Just what the viewers and drivers are used to, and challenging circuit that is.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun tonight. I think that first corner, we always really cringe about that first corner, but David, this first corner here it's a very long sweeping right. So I really think there's lots of opportunity to make a pass and almost everybody to get out very safe. But just when you think you're safe and you've got that nice wide circuit for your big runoff area, you're going to quickly enter into a very fast left and a very fast right. So this field has really got to get themselves sorted out in that first couple sectors there, because you're really going to lose time if you are offline here, because that inside line is going to be so important, especially as this track rubbers in, and we are going to definitely see some cooling of the track tonight.
Yep, certainly. Local time is, I believe, just past 5 p.m. and changing rapidly. It's nice sunshine out there right now, but we will be finishing in just about complete darkness. Changing conditions for our drivers. 15 seconds left, and the field will get rolling. And don't they all look good lined up side by side on this dummy grid before we head towards our rolling start? Your pick for the strategy, Aaron, do you think everyone will go long as they can on fuel and then take that splash? Or who's a potential to try and come into the pits early and go off cycle?
I am very very apprehensive to really make a call here, but I think, David, I'm going to go ahead and pick a driver too. I think Nate Franklin, he is a very consistent and strong driver in these cars. He is starting in that P5 spot tonight in a Merc, so he is very familiar with this car. But David, I just don't know on that pit strategy. I think some of these guys may want to dive in early, but you're really going to want to enjoy the spoils of the draft here. So you're going to maybe want to find a partner here if you're not feeling that quick. But David, these guys are quickly filing through the final chicane, and that pace car is getting ready to pull in.
Indeed, it is lights out. It pulls in. When will Alex Coffard decide to jump? He waits, and now he goes. So he gets a good jump. Jeff Tyler and Alex Albert follow along with him. John Patrick, not a great jump from him. Green flag is properly in the air as we get 60 minutes of racing started. Your top three, and Jeff Tyler fires it down the inside. Lap 1, turn 1. He takes the lead away from Alex Coffard. Great qualifying from Coffard, but now on the back foot in the race. Alex Albert's looking for a way through, and Nate Franklin has also moved himself up a spot into 4th. The BMW's making great progress right off the bat. Lap 1, turn 1.
Yeah, they absolutely are, David. It's so fun to see the mix of cars here. We see Jeff Tyler in the BMW in P1, Coffard and an Audi in P2, and Alex Albert in P3. So, and just hunting him down just behind that is another Nate Franklin in the BMW tonight. So, David, all sorts of mixes of cars right now. So this BOP for this race is looking very, very competitive.
I think Suzuka Circuit has something to bring out the strengths in just about every car, whether it's in a straight line, whether it's in the high-speed corners or the low-speed corners. Giovanni Romano in 6th would dearly like to move up some spots, and of course he always comes out of the gate hard.
Yeah, he really does. Giovanni Romano, David, last season champion, not to be forgotten, but he's one of those guys, it takes him a few laps to settle in, but once he gets in his groove, my goodness, you need to watch out because he is strong on strategy, he is strong on pace, and obviously very strong with driving skills behind the wheels. We were watching Alex Albert just absolutely hunt down Alex Coffard as they're going to approach this very fast straight coming up to 130R.
Yeah, great run out of Spoon Corner for Albert. Coffard not so strong, so now they're going to go side by side. Albert has the inside. He's far enough up, I think, and they do go too wide through 130R, but Albert decidedly taking that second position away. Coffard shuffled back to 3rd from pole position in this race, and they're starting to line up behind him. It's still all very, very close, though. And Giovanni Romano has lost a position to Tommy Ovelson as well. So that's a one spot back for Giovanni Romano as Alex Albert moves one step forward, makes the lead of this championship battle even more close as the points stand right now. But that's just with one lap of racing in the books.
Yeah, Giovanni Romano, he really tried to take a dive on Tommy Olson there coming into that final chicane, and it just didn't work out. I think Giovanni Romano made the right move to lift and give Tommy Olson the line there, but he's going to work his way back. The Ferrari, again, is a very consistent and very strong car. Maybe I mean even say a little bit safer than the Merc out here, but as you watch Giovanni Romano take a whole lot of curb going up the hill here, settled the car a little bit, losing a bit of time, but David, this top group here looking very, very quick.
Yeah, and with a pit stop sometime in this race, you would not count out Giovanni Romano. He's always heads up to the fuel strategy. It's never an afterthought for him. He has an idea in his mind how he wants to run the race and what his strategy is going to be, and I'm sure he's thinking about that already. What he can do where he is right now to try and minimize his pit stop time and when he might consider to take that pit stop, because it's not a fixed setup, because it's a fuel limit, a fuel tank shrinkage. It can't pit just yet and make it to the end. The pit window will open in, I think, about 10 minutes time. So nothing like that for Romano just yet, but it will be on his mind, I'm sure.
It will be for sure. David, I know we're very early on in the race, but I do want to call out, we do already have a fast lap of the race. Ryan Verhulst, all the way down in P13 with a 2:03.145. But David, I want to also mention that Jeff Tyler has gone purple in almost every single sector on the slip. So my goodness, Jeff Tyler is extremely quick and has already put a full 1 second gap on Alex Albert here with just a couple minutes into this race. And David, we are seeing a big battle between, oh my goodness, Ryan Verhulst, Chris Fleming, David Hall, Dylan Blanton. These guys are all over each other in that final sector there.
Yeah, Fawcett is leading his own little pack there as well. It's great battling all the way up and down the field, isn't it?
No, it really is. And Dylan's doing a fantastic job working on Chris Fleming. I think he scared himself just a little bit with that big bunch of these guys have all kind of sorted themselves back out. So, but David, it looks like that front pack there has sorted themselves out just a little bit. It looks like in the top 5, our closest battle is going to be between Nate Franklin, John Patrick, and Tommy Ovelson.
Yeah, Jeff Tyler just trying to check out Alex Albert and Alex Coffard trying to come with, but you're absolutely right that 4th place down to 8th, that's its own little battle going on. Nate Franklin with John Patrick, Tommy Ovelson, Giovanni Romano, and Brian Molitor. Ryan Verhulst's gone and grabbed a spot away from Chris Flamian there, so they're trading positions. Verhulst and Flamian both up 2 spots from where they started.
Yeah, they really are. So a very strong drive here. And David, just as I speculated, Jeff Tyler has put down the fastest lap of the race with a 1:58.3. Let's keep in mind that the qualifying time was just about 4 tenths slower than, about 4.5 tenths slower than. So Jeff Tyler, even with a full heavy tank of fuel, is putting down some very, very quick laps. But David, I'm also watching the timing screen. We've got purple sectors from a lot of these drivers. So everybody's getting comfortable. Everybody's feeling pretty good right now. But we continue to watch the battle between Nate Franklin and John Patrick. John Patrick is getting a very good pull on Nate Franklin in P4.
That's true. Coming into 130R, both of them using all of the runoff and then some, extending the circuit as far as they can through 130R. John Patrick is also under threat behind from Tommy Ovelson. Alex Coffard is in his own little world ahead of these guys. Giovanni Romano continues to struggle a little bit. He's dropped back off this pack. He's got Brian Molitor trying to pass him. It's now just sort of 3 cars, 4th, 5th, and 6th. John Patrick is looking to the inside of Nate Franklin. That scares him, but doesn't manage to come on through. And now Tommy is lining up behind as well. BMW, a Mercedes, and a Mercedes. BMW is still holding the high ground right now. John Patrick's got to look forward at Nate Franklin in front and in his mirrors at Tommy behind.
Yeah, Tommy Ovelson looking very, very quick out there. I think he's looking for an opportunity. John Patrick needs to be very careful. I do feel he's a bit quicker than Nate Franklin, especially in that final sector, but he needs to be careful not to overdrive the car because Tommy Ovelson behind John Patrick here, I think any mistake of overdriving the car, Tommy Ovelson is going to very quickly snatch that spot away and grab himself P5, but John Patrick still holding strong in P5 right now, just behind Nate Franklin.
Little flash of the headlights from Tommy. He looks to think about going down the inside of the hairpin. Is not going to happen this time. And amongst all of that, Giovanni Romano is just holding station about a second behind them. He's stopped dropping back as fast as he was. Maybe he knows something about that Ferrari in the late stint that's going to make it stronger later on. Maybe he just prefers the way it drives and he just couldn't make the BMW or the Mercedes work. Who knows, but he's still a chance. But he's just not moving up the order like I'm sure he'd want to do. JP having a good look at Nate Franklin for 4th, though.
Yeah, we see this 130R. We saw this move earlier. Both these guys taking a very exploratory route last time around. A little more behaved this time, a little more technical, so not quite as aggressive this time around. Nate Franklin taking a little bit wide here. I think John Patrick's going to get a very good run. Yeah, David gets a very good run off this sector. I think if he's going to make a move, this is John Patrick's opportunity right now. He has got a big speed advantage. He's going to have that draft. We're going to watch if Nate Franklin is going to go defensive, and no, it looks like he's going to let him go. Yeah, David, he is lifted. John Patrick has taken that spot away from Nate Franklin. As we watch John Patrick go a little bit wide. Oh, David, I don't know if he can hold it. Yes, he will.
Yeah, with the fast corner leading into the longer, tighter corner for turns 1 and 2 here at Suzuka. It's very easy to get in a little bit too hot. And John Patrick nearly did that, but just gets it stopped, just gets it turned, moves himself up into 4th position. Now, Tommy Overson will be thinking, what do I have to do to get past Nate Franklin? The BMW is always pretty good under brakes, though, so it's not an easy maneuver unless you get the sort of respect that I think Nate Franklin gave there. We realized he didn't need to fight it too hard. A lot to still happen in this race. Pits still to play out. And I think the BMW is actually one of the more fuel-efficient cars. If Nate Franklin knows that, stays with these guys, he might be able to shave a second or two off his pit stop relative to them. Certainly his pace is keeping him with these guys.
Yeah, let's talk a little more about that. I'm watching Nate Franklin, and especially in some of these trail braking areas. John Patrick's car, David, just does not look good under braking or trail braking. Like, watch him go wide again, David. So he's very unstable in some of these braking areas, and Nate Franklin is going to have to watch out for that because some of these sectors, like we just saw right there, coming into Spoon and then coming up this hill here, coming up the 130R. So I really think Nate Franklin needs to watch some opportunity for John Patrick possibly overheating those rear tires and getting really loose. Nate Franklin may have an advantage with some possible setup issues with John Patrick.
Yeah, it's not looking it just right now as Tommy Overson will go to the inside of the Casio triangle and he gets that job done. So Nate Franklin is now back into 6th place. Tommy up into 5th. So dropping back down the order, it looked an eventuality really there for Nate Franklin. The BMW doesn't seem to quite have the straight line speed down that back stretch, down the front stretch. I'm sure it's good through the S's, but you can't pass there. And he'll have to think about what he can do in the rest of the race because the lines look good for Franklin. The car looks stable, but it just doesn't look quick.
No, I think you're definitely right. Maybe some of that stability under braking, he has maybe tuned in a little bit too much of a push there because watching him through 130R, he's having to lift quite a bit more than these two Mercs in front of him. And I'm watching his brake lights. He's tapping a lot, so I'm worried that he may have to be using some brake to help that those front wheels plant because he's just having a very difficult time right now where I feel like some of these Mercs are not having the same challenge as Nate Franklin. So, David, definitely a safer choice, maybe a speedier choice in a straight line, but Nate Franklin may have some setup issues right now. Let's see if this, as the tires wear, he may gain some advantage, but he's really appears to be struggling with that car right now.
Yeah, up the lead of the race, Jeff Tyler's BMW is still holding on to that. It's been pretty equal gap, 6/10 back from him to Alex Albert in the last 2 laps or so. Alex Coffard is lurking behind that bit more than a second further back. But Albert is making some little inroads into Jeff Tyler right now. Albert would like to get to the lead of that race. Jeff Tyler did a great job stealing the lead away from Alex Coffard at the very first opportunity. But his reign might come to an end soon at the rate that Albert is closing up. Great run through 130R, great on the brakes for Albert this time. Suddenly, it's nose to tail for the lead of the race. It was 6/10 not long ago.
Yeah, Alex Albert is on an absolute blazer of a lap. Sector 1 and Sector 5. He is quick, David. Let's keep an eye on what this lap is. I believe this is probably going to be a personal best, possibly a fast lap of the race. And those times, yeah, David, he has stolen that fast lap away by 3/10. So a little bit of a draft help, but Alex Albert is absolutely on fire on that last lap.
Yeah, he's muscling the car around. It certainly does want to turn. What will that mean for tyre life later in the race, though? We'll have to wait and see. For the moment, Jeff Tyler still has the lead, but Alex Albert is making a compelling case that he might just try and grab that away on this lap, especially if he can get another great run through Spoon Corner, another great run down 130R. Through the S's, that's where you expect the BMW might be stronger. Jeff Tyler is not under as much threat as he was, but Albert is lurking.
Yeah, he is looking. I'm really trying to take a closer look at some of these different lines here and possibly see where Alex Albert is stronger and where Jeff Tyler is stronger. I do believe that with the right setup, I think Jeff Tyler may be a little bit better tuned than some of the criticisms I was giving to Nate Franklin. But yeah, you really see how much that BMW walks away in some of these fast areas. But it looks like Jeff Tyler is maybe a little more conservative than Alex Albert on some of the braking. Alex Albert, oh my goodness, he missed the apex right there. So he's going to lose with a little bit of time on this lap, so David. So definitely this lap here is not going to be as quick as his last, but he is still within firing distance of Jeff Tyler.
Yep, certainly. It's back out to 6/10 like it was a lap ago. Albert, good through 130R, so the high-speed stuff, super high-speed stuff looking okay for the Mercedes, and of course on the brakes there, he's looking good. BMW just planted, so exciting battle for the lead of the race that we have got. Further down, 5th place, Nate Franklin still holding on to the back of Tommy Ovalson a little bit for the minute. And some other battles a little bit further down. Andrew Fawcett in 15th. It's not close enough to Christopher Flamian. And Fawcett is having a very, very difficult time with that older specification Ford.
Yeah, David, I'm glad you jumped down here. This is what I was looking at, too. I just love to get this car on camera and some of these beautiful Ford GT sounds. But yeah, David, I think just a bit of an older car, a bit of an older spec, just not quite as technologically advanced as some of these cars that we're seeing. So you really have to be extremely aggressive and, dare I say, risky with the setup in order to be competitive. But Fawcett's kind of holding his own here. He is in P15. He is not up there running with some of the faster guys, but he is holding his own against Chris Fleming. So let's keep an eye on this battle. It may be in the back, but this is definitely compelling to watch.
Yep, indeed. It's the only Ford we've got out there and doing what it can. Updated livery, but not updated parts on that thing, unfortunately. It's not kept pace with the rapid development in the GT3 category worldwide, and now proving a very popular racing category. Manufacturers putting their latest and greatest models into it, and that Ford GT, unfortunately, is not one of them. Looks good, but a little bit of a relic of time preserved here on iRacing.
Indeed. David, we're going to skip away from the beautiful sights and sounds of that Ford GT, and we're watching Alex Albert take a peek into 130R on Jeff Tyler, trying to give him a bit of his own medicine. The old Jeff Tyler scare couldn't quite get it done, but Alex Albert is again right on the bumper, letting him know he's right there. Who's going to get the better exit? I'll see the Merc is going to be a bit of a disadvantage here. Let's see how much Jeff Tyler has trimmed out that car to hold him out, but I just think the draft may be too strong. So David, is he going to go defensive here? Alex Albert has a very good run. Jeff Tyler, driving right in the middle of the road, letting him know this is not going to be a free spot for you. So Jeff Tyler, a little defensive, missing the apex because of his defensive move, but he will continue to hold on to his spot through the first sector.
Drama for Tommy Ovalson. He's brought his Mercedes down onto the pit lane. Having a look what has happened there. He was running well up in 5th place or so, now making some emergency pit repairs. Bonnet is missing off that thing. Has it been 130R that has bit him? Was it before that? I think it was 130R. Just a little bit too much AstroTurf for Tommy Ovalson.
Yeah, indeed, David. That is one of those areas where everybody's done that. You get some of that AstroTurf. Sometimes it won't bite you. Sometimes it will. You just can't predict it. Yeah, and Tommy Ovalson, that has just gotten him there. So hopefully he'll get in there. I do believe he is within a reasonable pit window. Take his fast repair, put some fuel in, and possibly close out.
Yeah, he's back out on track. And not battling that car on the same lap, I don't think. But you're absolutely right. He might have actually had a little bit of luck, and we're now within the window. He might have been able to put fuel in that car to get it to the end, in which case the time lost will not have been so severe because he was able to use a fast repair. Might have really only cost him 20 or 30 seconds once everyone else has taken their pit stops. That's what he'll definitely be hoping. If he's just short on fuel, that will necessitate another stop and be much, much more costly.
Yeah, David, we're watching the front right now, but I'm keeping an eye on the back. P9 and P10, Ryan Verhulst and David Hall, they just went side by side all the way through Spoon. My goodness, that was fun to watch. We also have another very intense battle between P7 and P8, Shane Cameron and Jeremy Rogers. But David, let's keep an eye on this battle up front because my goodness, is it getting tight.
Yeah, once again, Alex Albert looks to the inside of turn 1. This time, I think he's got a little bit more nose in there, and he'll keep it through the inside of turn 2. Again, side by side. Can Jeff Tyler get a good exit? He'll have the inside for the first piece of the S's, and he just runs his line all the way out. Tiny bit of a bump on Alex Albert, I think, but Jeff Tyler holds on to the lead. Alex Albert just couldn't take enough speed down the inside of the corner to get clear, and this battling lets Coffard get a tiny bit closer. That's the best look that Alex Albert has had in quite some time, making his intentions crystal clear.
Yeah, indeed, that was the best look at Jeff Tyler with a very bold and confident. It just chopped his nose off right in that first sector, though. So Alex Albert being very, I think, respectful and making sure that they didn't cause an incident there. But that probably made him just a bit hot under the head and looking for an opportunity to see him light up the corner coming out there. But he needs to be very careful because Alex Crawford, as you mentioned, he is catching these guys right now. It's fun to watch battling, but that is not helping their advantage to make sure they keep that P3 car behind there because he is catching now.
Yeah, the mid-engine Audi might just be a little nicer to the rear tires, for example. Don't quite know about that one, but it's certainly a possibility that later the Audi will come back at this BMW and this Mercedes. 3 German manufacturers at our top 3, and suddenly Alex Coffard is right back in the picture. From the drop of the green flag, it looked like he didn't have the race pace, even though he had the qualifying pace. But now he's definitely having a look, especially as Jeff Tyler appears to slow up a little bit. Alex Albert once again trying to find a way past, can't do it yet. He's going to probably not be quite as close into turn 1 this time as he was last time, but he knows that he's going to have to be very brave, very forceful, and very assertive if he's going to take that lead away from Jeff Tyler.
Yeah, he really is, and I think he's quickly learning what sort of defensive behavior Jeff Tyler is going to adopt. It's basically the no fear adoption that he has an opportunity to chop your nose off. He will do it, so that is a reasonable defense, but he's got to be very, very careful. Again, we got a very quick Alex Crawford behind them in a completely different car, and yeah, David, as you said, I think the Audi is a bit kinder on some of the tires, so let's keep an eye on Alex Crawford as this race continues to work through. But yeah, David, this top group here, this is our best battle on track.
Yeah, for sure. Not a battle, but a little bit of a line-up behind Giovanni Romano with Shane Cameron, Jeremy Rogers, Ryan Verhulst, and Brian Molitor. Those guys not really battling each other wheel to wheel, but certainly are all going to have to think about when their pit stop is, because with the margins that fine, any blunder with the pit strategy would definitely cost or gain positions for some of the drivers there. Up front for the lead of the race, though, you can't ignore that. Alex Albert has clearly got just a little bit more pace than Jeff Tyler, not able to find a way to use it to get past.
No, he hasn't. Alex Albert has gone purple in Sector 4, so he has maybe cooled those tires off a little bit, maybe cooled his head a little bit. He's feeling very quick again, so let's watch him as he goes through. Yeah, Jeff Tyler just not quite the same bite as that Merc. It looks like Alex is going to... Oh, my goodness, Jeff Tyler being defensive. There's that move again, David, chopping off that nose. Alex Albert has got to be very careful with that. Jeff Tyler is not shy about this move, but Jeff Tyler definitely got the better run coming out of that final sector. I think he's going to be safe going into turn 1 with a very nice exit.
Yeah, it was a great run from Albert through 130R, but then he just couldn't place the car anywhere to do anything into that final chicane, into the Casio triangle. Runs just maybe a little bit wide through turn 1. He'll pick it up. He'll live to fight another day. He'll have another opportunity, but he'll need to think about, I think that BMW in front might have a slightly shorter pit stop than him. It's going to be difficult for the Mercedes to win this on strategy. He's going to have to get his elbows out sooner or later. But there's really been no mistakes from Jeff Tyler. Not quite as quick, but no obvious flaws, no open doors for Alex Albert to march on through.
I agree. Just some very metered, clinical consistency. David, I want to quickly pop down the kind of the middle of the pack here. P8, P9, and P10. Jeremy Rogers, Ryan Verhulst, and Brian Molitor got a nice little pack going here. This small group is hunting down Shane Cameron, who's up 3 spots so far on this race, David. So some very good action we have picked up here in the mid pack. Again, a nice mix of cars. We've got, excuse me, not a mix at all, Dave. We have 3 Mercs and a Z in the middle here. So Ryan Verhulst is alone with his BMW, but looking very quick out there.
Yeah, and I think he's looking at how he's going to get past Jeremy Rogers. And Brian Molitor behind is thinking the same up front. Those are the three closest ones, 8th, 9th, and 10th. No change just yet, but like I mentioned, I mean, it's going to be critical when it is only 2 seconds or something from 7th to 10th place here. This later in the race, that's where the fuel strategy and the pit calls will make a big effect when the cars are this close, and every second in the pit stop matters, could mean as much as 3 spots.
Indeed. All right, David, we're 30 minutes, 35 minutes left in this race. I'm going to do a qual call. So right now, our championship points leader, Giovanni Romano, is in P6, and P2 in points. Alex Albert is in, big moment for Alex Albert. They're coming out of the first section. So Alex Albert is in P2, Tommy Ovelson all the way down in P16, David. So definitely some shakeups happening in the points right now. It's still lots of racing to go here, but my goodness, the points look very different from the current running order. Tommy Olsen, unfortunately, being the biggest loser right now when it comes to points haul. So he's got some work to do, but he has pitted. So let's watch him climb back up this field if he can, with lots of time left.
Yep, he's 55 seconds off the lead of the race, though, and really expecting just a splash of fuel from all of the other competitors, maybe a 25 or 30 second transit time in the pit lane, maybe even a little bit shorter than that. That we will see. I think adjusted, Tommy Ovelson will move up potentially into the top 10, but I think his odds of standing on the podium unfortunately evaporated with that little mistake.
We have not lost sight of that top battle here. We are continuing to watch this very interesting battle between P7, P8, P9, and P10. Whoa, we watch Brian Verhulst with a big moment. And yeah, Brian Molitor has taken advantage. Ryan Verhulst has got a whole load of dirt and grass coming out of that very tight hairpin. He has lost a spot, and Brian Molitor is looking to grab 2 this lap, hunting down Jeremy Rogers. No, he's going to settle down and keep himself in that brand new P9 spot. So, David, this group continues to be very exciting to watch.
Dylan Blanton has gone around behind in the sort of shell BMW, and I'm not sure what he's quite done through Spoon Corner there, but that's cost him a lot of time. He was right up behind that battle, and now Andrew Fawcett comes through. Now Christopher Flamion and Devin Peters are going to come through. They're having their own battle as well. Devin Peters in a Ferrari, not so many of them out there, but Devin trying to make that one work. So battles all around, and Alex Coffard from 3rd place now into the pit lane. Now it's the first of our regular scheduled pit stops, I think. He's making a gamble. Been a problem for him, unfortunately, in that Audi.
Yeah, unfortunately, David, this is far from scheduled. He actually dropped the right side tires into the grass entering 130R, and that is not what you want to do, David. He darn near saved it. An amazing drift, but ended up planting the front of that car. So this is unfortunately not scheduled / a scheduled stop. So he's going to take a fast repair, hopefully get back out there, David. But I really worry that his top 5 chances may have been shattered with that mistake.
Yeah, ouch. Big hit for Alex Coffard. 130R proving one of the more difficult corners out on circuit. Battles are heating up as we get very, very close to the halfway point of this 1 hour race. For the lead, it's still Tyler and Albert, but plenty more going on.
Yeah, we've got our eyes on Jeremy Rogers right now. So Jeremy Rogers is up 2 spots. Started in P9. He has worked his way all the way up to P7. He is hunting down Shane Cameron, who is up 4 spots, starting in P10 all the way up to P6. So Shane Cameron working his way up. Shane Cameron is P8 in points. So nothing to sniff at here. And Jeremy Rogers as well. See, Jeremy Rogers is P16 in points, David. So not necessarily big championship implications here, but both of these cars are running very good races and are working their way up the leaderboard. So fantastic drive. Right now, fast lap with this too. Shane Cameron did a 159.1 versus Jeremy Rogers 159.7. So a bit quicker for Shane Cameron. And yeah, we're watching Jeremy Rogers with the lift going into 130R being conservative. So David, he may be pretty happy with his spot right now, just possibly waiting for a joint pit stop.
Yep, and here it is now. John Patrick, the first of our regular pit callers. I called it a bit early with Alex Coffard, unfortunately, but John Patrick, that's a clean car coming down pit lane to receive its service. This is going to be very interesting. Keep an eye on the stationary time. How much fuel does he need to take? Ryan Verhulst also enters the pit lane. So does Jordan Babcock. John Patrick still holding still. It's been 15 seconds. That's quite a bit of service John Patrick is getting done. Jordan Babcock goes up on the jacks. He's taking new tyres in that McLaren. John Patrick, JP, 23 seconds on the lane. So I don't think as much is lost for Tommy Ovelson as maybe I suggested.
No, Tommy Ovelson working his way up again. He started P7. Unfortunately, he was our first one to take a bit of an incident with 130R, but he is working his way back. He's back up to P13, David, and I think your insight that he may grab himself a spot inside top 10 is looking very good at this point with just under 31 minutes left in this race.
It was actually a bit of a long stop from John Patrick, 23 seconds. Alex Coffard and Tommy Ovelson both taking about 10 to 12 seconds of fuel. So that's going to cost JP just a little bit. Not the end of the world, but certainly with how fine some of the margins can be, 10 seconds lost on pit lane could translate to a few positions. He's got a lot of work to do in the second half of the race.
Yeah, he really does. David, let's take our focus back up to this front spot here. We have, things look the same, but the motions have not changed either. Alex Albert continues to really catch Jeff Tyler in those final sectors here, but then Jeff Tyler hits that straightaway with that BMW speed and just pulls away every single time. We're really keeping an eye on where these guys are on track. David, also, I want to keep in mind track temperature has dropped 2 degrees just in the last 15 minutes. So some of these cars who may be running a bit of a different setup where it worked on a hotter track, things are going to get very cooled down. So we're going to have to keep an eye on who has got the setup right for a quickly cooling track.
Exactly, sun getting lower in the sky. Headlights on these machines getting more and more visible. And we've had a couple more pit callers as well. Nate Franklin on the lane. He takes 13 seconds of fuel. That's just about typical and maybe a little bit more than expected for a BMW, but certainly within the range. We've now reached a point where more than half of our field has gone down pit lane. Your top 6 drivers that haven't pitted. Jeff Tyler, Alex Albert, Giovanni Romano now running in third, having stayed out and not pitted yet. Shane Cameron and Jeremy Rogers, that fantastic battle. And no pace, but no issues for Andrew Fawcett. He's now in 6th. See what he can do after the pit stops, now in the final half of this race.
Yeah, he's worked his way up in this car. I think this is definitely a fan favorite, not necessarily a driver's favorite, but we all love seeing this car out here. David, let's keep an eye on here, but I'm going to do a quick rundown right now. Our highest ranking pitters, John Patrick in P10, Alex Coffard P11, and Tommy Ovelson in P12. So those cars have pit. Tommy Ovelson, the longest one out there. He's 7 laps on this stint, as we saw him with an incident earlier on the race. So the pitters are working their way up. And yeah, John Patrick has just taken another spot away from Daniel Bartz. John Patrick all the way up to P9 now.
Yep, so Pitstop Blunder, we'll see how much that's actually cost John Patrick. As you mentioned, he is second of the cars that have pitted, but he wasn't so far away from Nate Franklin before the pit stops. Now finds himself, several seconds back on that.
Yeah, Devin Peters, David, I believe Devin Peters has had a moment, and yeah, that is a moment in Spoon. He drifted the corner, and then he saved it, and then got in the grass, and then gave it some go juice, and that was enough to send him around. David, he did miss contact with the wall, but Devin Peters, his difficult race just hasn't gotten any better, so he is now working his way back to the pit lane with not a very happy car.
Yeah, indeed. Spoon corner, difficult in any car. Off camber, late apex, difficult. But Ferrari just a little bit more tail happy than some of the other GT3 cars. So he's decided pit lane time for him. Same for Daniel Bartz. There's only a handful of drivers out there yet to pit, and that includes our race leaders.
Yeah, these race leaders are. So let's just keep an eye on this here. So this is where Alex Albert catches up to Jeff Tyler every single time. So he gets a very good run up this hill. Alex Albert getting a nice toe, about 7/10 back right now. But this is where I think the Merc is just a little stronger. So Jeff Tyler, I don't think he carries as much speed. Alex Albert with a very nice entrance there. Oh, we've got, oh my God, a car flipping in front of our leaders. That is
Got to be Jordan Babcock in the orange McLaren. Do you hear that sound? It's Babs Nation leaving their seats and leaving the stands.
David, we hate seeing that. Babs Nation has such a strong following. They pack the grandstands every time. That was a spectacular moment for Jordan Babcock and Babs Nation as he rolls it coming out of 130R.
Yeah, 130R, also a difficult corner. We've seen that for a Mercedes, for an Audi, but now the McLaren can chew through its tyres, and that's cost Babcock very, very dearly. He's now on pit lane for the second time. I'm not sure if he has a fast repair remaining. He might be in his pit stall for quite some time. They might have to take that McLaren behind the wall. I don't know if we'll see him again in this race.
Yeah, that's disappointing to see. We have seen some massive highs and some unfortunately very low lows for Babcock and Babs Nation this season. So unfortunately, David, it looks like we have hit another low for Babs Nation. But quick check-in on our pit groups here. So Nate Franklin is our highest runner right now. Nate Franklin, P7 right now, started P5. He has pitted. He's got John Patrick and Alex Crawford behind him, also have pitted. So Andrew Fawcett up 10 spots, but he's being hunted by some cars, likely with some fresh tires and enough fuel to enter or to finish out this race. Whereas Fawcett, he does not, and everyone from P6 and above also need to start considering a pit stop coming up very soon with 25 minutes left in this race.
Yeah, my back of the envelope calculations would suggest that there's about 45 minutes of fuel in these cars at the start. Means there's only 5 more laps left in them before they'd have to pit. We'll see when they decide to and when they're forced to. But as you say, still our top 6 yet to pit. It's been a little bit more sane for the lead of the race. Alex Albert hasn't gotten as close to Jeff Tyler the last maybe 5 or so laps than he did earlier in the race. Both of them stay out, so they're going to run that fuel as long as they can. I would have thought maybe at some point Alex Albert would try something in the pits. Just try to do something different than Jeff Tyler, because it's not really working right now.
No, it's really not. And on that last lap, Jeff Tyler just put in a personal best of 158.2. So not quite as good as Alex Albert's 158 dead, but he's working his way. And David, we have a change. Nate Franklin has passed Andrew Fawcett, the non-pitting Andrew Fawcett. So Nate Franklin has worked his way past him. David, it looks like those cars that have pitted are really starting to chew up some of these guys that have chosen not to pit yet. So let's keep an eye on Nate Franklin. He's very quick out there, and he has made his stop.
Yeah, indeed. I'm sure Andrew Fawcett knows that they are not on the same strategy, not even close. So probably didn't make that too hard for Nate Franklin. Not obliged to get out of the way, though, as they are on the same lap, even if they are on differing pit cycles. So Nate Franklin did have a good pit stop that put him ahead of John Patrick. I think JP has an opportunity to close him later in the race. Now that car of Andrew Fawcett is between the two of them, though.
He does. David, I'm going to take a quick look again. Our top group here, we're definitely going to keep an eye on the leaderboards, making sure that if we do have a pit one, we're going to keep an eye on this. But I'm watching the battle between P15 and P16. Daniel Bartz and Dylan Blanton. These guys, 2 BMWs kind of towards the back of the field, but very, very good battle here. So both these guys, Daniel Bartz up 4 spots. Dylan Blanton having a difficult race, down 3 spots. But David, these guys are running very similar pace. Both of these guys have pitted, so this is a fun battle for P16 and for P15 and P16.
Yeah, Dylan Blanton's shown some flashes of pace, but not consistency. He was running higher up. He went for a spin that I think we saw that put him behind Devin Peters. He's trying to get past there. Blanton went for another spin. So no damage on the car, only the 1 pit stop, but some errors out on track. Put Dylan Blanton a little bit deeper in the field than maybe his 1 lap pace would be capable of. So he'd be possible for him to get past Daniel Bartz, I would expect. He does need to be a little bit more cautious lest he make another mistake like he did earlier. Both of them get it sideways out of shape on the exit of the second Degner, heading towards the hairpin. Blanton close, but nothing happening for him yet. Gain just needs to cool his head a little bit, and I'm sure an opportunity will come.
Yeah, a little bit of a monkey see, monkey do coming out of the corner there. David, let's keep our eyes on this battle, but I do want to give an update that Jeff Tyler has again done a personal best on that last lap with a 1:58.1. So as the fuel gets light, Jeff Tyler is seeing massive improvement in his time. Alex Albert has got to be watching that for sure as this pit window is closing, but coming up on these guys, as Alex Albert has now lost a whole boatload of time. And, Jeff Tyler now has pulled a full second gap on P2 Alex Albert.
Very close through 130R for Bartz and Blanton. Blanton runs out a little bit wider. Remains close through the Casio triangle. I think Blanton will take a line that lets him get on the throttle earlier on the exit of the corner, but he's just not quite close enough this time. See what the slipstream can do for him, but equal machinery in theory. So of course, differing setups potentially at wing angles and all manner of other things like that. But the base car identical between these two drivers, not giving Blanton any straight line speed advantage or any the weaknesses of the car in front are the same as his weaknesses, making it more difficult to try and capitalize. Jeff Tyler from the lead of the race into the pits. Alex Albert stays out. I think that's huge.
That is huge. I was, just as you said that, David, I was taking a quick look. Alex Albert made no effort to follow him in, so I think some pit strategy here. We're going to keep an eye on the time that Jeff Tyler is in there. But as you said, I think a bit of fuel savings, not as thirsty as that Merc. So, David, what is Jeff Tyler's pit time looking like?
Well, he's just ticked over 10 seconds. Alex Albert needs to put in the lap of his life right now. And Jeff Tyler just needs a good pit stop. 16 seconds stationary, that's quite long. Considering Nate Franklin, also in a BMW, took 13 seconds. Jeff Tyler is going to come out just in front of Shane Cameron and Jeremy Rogers, who are battling and haven't pitted yet. Disturbs that battle a little bit. Shane Cameron gets put off his preferred line, but stays in front of Jeremy Rogers. So it was critical for Jeff Tyler. If he'd ended up behind those two guys, that would have cost him a lot more time to Alex Albert. But if Albert can just do 12 seconds of fuel, he'll take the lead of this race. I think that stop was just a little bit longer than it needed to be for Jeff Tyler.
Yeah, great analysis on the importance of Jeff Tyler getting in front of that group, because that would have been catastrophic in terms of timing. But I'm watching Alex Albert's sector times, David, and he's just not getting the job done what he needs to do in order to make sure that his pit stop is going to give him the advantage. He needs to stick with Jeff Tyler. So Alex Albert coming through 130R right now, and he has not done a sector best yet on this lap. So I'm really worried that this lap is just not that good. Jeff Tyler did take... Oh, and Alex Albert really blows the final chicane here. He no errors, no error. But David, he's going to stay out as well. Alex Albert, David, I've criticized him before on pit strategy, but he is in P2 in points because he's way smarter than you. But Alex Albert is really pushing this car.
Yeah, so right now, the gap, Albert to Tyler, 39 seconds. We're going to have to see at the end of this lap, what does that look like? Is Albert putting in the lap times right now to overcut Jeff Tyler or not? Realistically, I think if Albert just matches Tyler's times and can put in a pit stop that's 2 seconds quicker, he'll jump him, because they were within a second of each other when Tyler jumped into the pit lane. I don't think anything crazy is needed from Albert to take the lead of this race, but mistakes like he did on the brakes into Casio Triangle, that he cannot afford.
No, he cannot afford it. So, yeah, just keep an eye on this here. And David, yeah, we've got a lot of shakeups here with the pit stops happening. It looks like right now the closest group, we have Shane Cameron, Jeremy Rogers, a good battle, Nate Franklin, John Patrick, Alex Cofford. Again, these pit cycles are really giving us some good action on track, but we all have our eyes on Alex Albert, thinking, when in the world is he going to pit?
Yeah, precisely. Patrick and Coffard, that's going to be an interesting one to watch, with the problems that Coffard had costing him a lot of time. But we know one lap pace is absolutely something that our pole sitter Alex Coffard had. So that's going to be a good one to watch. 7th and 8th place as Coffard aims for some redemption after his error through 130R.
Yeah, David, and I have some bad news again. We were really enjoying the recovery drive of Tommy Olvelson. Unfortunately, David, he has brought that car into the pits and he has exited the car, and that car is off. It looks like Tommy Olvelson's night is done.
That's a heartbreak for him. Albert comes out of the Casio Triangle. Is he into the pit lane this time? No, he's still out another lap. So Albert taking that fuel tank as far as it will go. Same can be said for Giovanni Romano in 2nd place, who's still out there, still circulating. And Shane Cameron and Jeremy Rogers also not diving into the pit lane any earlier than required by the low fuel light in the dash.
No, definitely not. And so, yeah, Shane Cameron, yeah, David, there's tons of really good battles on track. Alex Albert just continuing to just run this out as far as he can. He's got 16 minutes left in this race, and we're really keeping an eye on some of these lap times. He's not all that slow. He's did a 1:58.4 on that last lap, which his fast lap of the race is a 1:58 dead. And remember, Jeff Tyler was doing 1:58.3s in terms of fast laps, so Alex Albert is still extremely competitive. But what is his end game here with this very, very long pit strategy? And yeah, Giovanni Romano is climbing his way up as well, but Jeff Tyler is right on the shoestrings of these guys, David. So some very interesting strategies playing out with our top 5. Jeff Tyler being the highest runner who was pitted.
Yeah, that gap, Albert to Tyler, that I mentioned maybe 2 laps ago was 39.2 seconds. Is now 38.5. So Tyler has been a little bit quicker, but I don't think enough to erase the deficit from him taking a slightly longer pit stop than some of the other guys out there. I've still got my eyes on this battle. It's Patrick and Coffard. That's great as well. So plenty happening in the final quarter of this race, Reddit iRacing League, Season 25, Round 5. Coffard catches Patrick through the Degner corners here, and that's not a place where he can do much about it. The Audi, not quite as strong in straight line as the Mercedes, nearly going side by side into the hairpin. Again, not an opportunity for Coffard. Gotta look, when does Alex Albert come into the pit lane? Has he stayed out one more lap?
David, indeed he has. Yeah, we can keep the cameras on the battle between John Patrick and Coffard. But yes, Alex Albert has in fact Alex Albert, has in fact continued on for one more lap. But yeah, this battle with for P7 and P8, Alex Coffard, the car definitely looks a lot more planted than what John Patrick is dealing with. I feel like I was talking about John Patrick at the start of this race. That car is feeling a bit unstable. Coffard looking very strong in this Audi, but yeah, he's really still kind of reeling from an incident early on in this race where he went wide of 130R and had to take a very early pit, battling for that P3 spot, which he still wishes he could have back.
Yep, indeed. Last lap was scruffy for Albert, 59.5. Jeff Tyler took another second out of him, so that will be pretty close when reality calls and Alex Albert has to put more fuel into that Mercedes. Shane Cameron has come into the pit lane, but Jeremy Rogers, Giovanni Romano have stayed out. So 3 cars yet to trundle their way on the limiter down the pit lane to take some service. Everyone else has, and it's very, very deep into the race. Some of those drivers have managed to go with just 76% of the fuel tank capacity of their GT3.
Yeah, definitely pushing the limits here. You know, you are able to adjust the fuel mixture on these cars, but I just don't know how much it is worth really doing that. Is you've got to be on the loud pedal a lot on this track. And so yeah, the battle between Coffard and John Patrick continues. Last lap, Coffard was a 1:59.1, John Patrick a 1:58.9. So
and your leader is in. Alex Albert from the lead of the race is entering the pit lane. It is absolutely on. This has to be exactly the right amount of fuel, not a drop more. It needs to be perfect in the box if Albert is going to take the lead away from Jeff Tyler. This is going to be, I'm imagining from my reading of the timing screen, very, very close. That blend line into turn 1 is going to be Jeff Tyler's friend. So Albert stops on his marks, the fueler starts putting the fuel in. I think this is as far as these cars can go because Giovanni Romano follows Alex Albert in as well. Imagine Jeremy Rogers will also have to pit. Very quick stop for Albert. Just 10.5 seconds of fuel, 6 seconds quicker than Jeff Tyler. Where is Tyler? He's up to speed coming down the pit straight, but Alex Albert is ahead and by 3 seconds coming into turn 1. Exactly the right amount of fuel, not a second longer held in the pit lane for Alex Albert than he needed. It's paid dividends. The overcut has worked for now. What kind of pace can Jeff Tyler work in the last 6 laps?
Yeah, David, you're definitely right. Alex Albert is going to have one heck of an outlap here. So yeah, did take an ounce of fuel more. Jeff Tyler did take a longer stop. So yeah, maybe that BMW was a little more thirsty. Maybe Jeff Tyler may have missed some calculations, but he has 11 minutes to recoup 2.7 seconds. And Jeff Tyler didn't have a great lap last lap. He only did a 1:58.5, which is a 4/10 off his best. And so, David, it's going to be very interesting to see what Jeff Tyler can do. But we know he's extremely strong and he's extremely confident in this BMW. And David, it looks like the battle between John Patrick and Coffert absolutely continues.
Yeah, indeed it does. We know that Coffard has got good pace, not found a way past John Patrick just yet. Jeremy Rogers, just up the road from them, hasn't pitted yet, so I think effectively this is the battle for 4th and 5th. If Coffard could grab 4th place after that accident that he had, that would be a fantastic recovery drive, and if John Patrick could hold on to 4th, well, that would be a good result for him as well. So this is certainly a battle for a good haul of points as we approach basically the midpoint of this season. Critical to grab some good points right now, especially if you're in the mid-pack in the standings, which are very tightly contested. So, battle for 4th and 5th once pit stops are considered. Battle for the lead. I think Alex Albert has just enough of a just enough of a buffer over Jeff Tyler that the slipstream and the draft isn't quite going to help him. You could hear that sentence forming in my brain and it didn't quite come out right, but you get what I'm saying there. Jeremy Rogers somehow managed to go even longer on fuel, but now he is into the pit lane. That is our whole field cleansed. And Rogers, my goodness, what fuel economy from him to go 51 minutes into this race on that tank of fuel.
Yeah, that is absolutely stunning fuel economy, but I also want to talk about a stunning effort that Jeff Tyler, on that last lap, he took a monster bite out of Alex Albert's lead. It was 2.7 seconds. It is now 1.8, David. So he is no longer just biting away at this. He is taking huge chunks out of Alex Albert's lead. Alex Albert last lap, again, with that pit stop was David has a 2:30. So we're still waiting for Alex Albert's lap time to come through with Jeff Tyler with a 1:58.4, which is just 3/10 off of his fastest lap. So David, he is on the absolute charge.
Indeed, with pit stops, Jeremy Rogers and Shane Cameron are reunited. Jeff Tyler, as you rightly point out, burning up that timing screen. He just needs to find another half a second and he'll be within the slipstream of the car in front, and that's when it'll help him down the straights and he can see what the BMW has through the corners. The race is absolutely not over yet, even though Alex Albert, I think, is your winner on pit strategy there. There's still 5 laps to go, and that's a long distance around Suzuka circuit.
It definitely is, David. Well, let's keep an eye on this battle here. There has been a swap for position in P9 and P10. Brian Molitor went very wide in the S's, and David Hall was able to sneak by. So Brian Molitor still trying to work his way back. Started in P8, down in P10, but David Hall is working his way up to P9, up 2 spots. So unfortunate moment for Brian Molitor as David Hall continues to work his way up with a very consistent race.
Big call here. Is David Hall the best Hall in RiL? Right now, the evidence would say so.
Yeah, the evidence would say so. Speaking of saying so, Nate Franklin, John Patrick, Alexander Cofford, we said this battle would continue throughout the race, and it has. These guys are very close again, and John Patrick continues to hold off that very noisy Audi V10 behind him. He just hasn't been able to find a way. By Alex Cofford is working very hard, but David, he is running out of time with 7 minutes left in this race.
Oh, big problem there for Alex Coffard. I think he's had a bit of oversteer and it's overcorrected and snapped through the S's. Has he kept that out of the barrier? I think almost just. So not a whole lot of damage for Alex Coffard, but that has cost him a lot of time and his hopes of grabbing 4th position. Also problems for Brighton Molitor, who's on the pit lane for the 2nd time. Is that a splash and dash or issues for him? I think concentrations are starting to wear thin in the dying minutes of this 1 hour race.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened to Brian Molitor. I mentioned that he went a little bit wide in the S's. He managed to avoid any sort of contact with anything. But yeah, David, I'm not entirely sure what this is. This may have been a fuel miscalculation.
Just 5 seconds could have been just a splash of fuel for Molitor. That's a expensive error. I think it's cost him a couple of positions. And in a race like this with 20 cars, he was on for a good result. He's on for some good points if he can get them. How far down the points pay in this series.
Yeah, David, again, we're watching on screen, but I'm going to ask our producer to go up to Jeff Tyler, and let's get behind the wheel. David, he has taken another massive bite out of Alex Albert. 1.3 seconds left with that gap and 5 minutes left in this race. David, he did a 1:58.5 on the last lap. Alex Albert with a 1:58.9. So, David, I'm really starting to see here who have played the strategy right. Alex Albert, 3 laps on his stint. Jeff Tyler, 7 laps on his. The track temp has dropped 1 more degree. I'm trying to figure out here who's got the better setup on a cold track. And Jeff Tyler, from first blush here on lap times, I think Jeff Tyler may have made a better choice. But David, Alex Albert, a fantastically strong race this race and some wild pit strategy that has really worked out for him so far.
It's that magic 1 second barrier, isn't it? That's where Jeff Tyler needs to get behind Alex Albert if he's going to have that big Mercedes punching a hole in the air for him where it matters, from spoon curve down to 130R and out of the Casio triangle towards turn 1. Jeff Tyler tries to make up the ground through the S's, through the hairpin, through the Degners. Can he get close enough that he starts to feel that speed advantage in a straight line? It's not quite a second yet. Jeff Tyler pushing so hard, giving it everything to try and close that gap up. Alex Albert, on the other hand, needs no mistakes.
Yeah, he needs no mistakes at all. Let's keep in mind that they're in the sector right now where Alex Albert has traditionally been a lot quicker than Jeff Tyler. Again, 130R, this BMW just isn't quite hooked up right for Jeff Tyler in terms of speed. Watch Alex Albert go very wide through 130R. He doesn't need that. That is a very dangerous thing to do, to watch Jeff Tyler really, really close up here. Jeff Tyler looking for opportunity. Jeff Tyler taking a lot of curb, looking for as much speed as he possibly can out of that section right there. So Jeff Tyler hasn't really put much ground. Yeah, it's still that magical 1 second. David, as you said, you can get within 1 second, but it's that final 1 second is the most important. Jeff Tyler is having a difficult time chewing away, but we are watching in front of Alex Albert here. That is lap traffic up here in front of them with some S's here. David, who is that up there?
That would be Alexander Bueller. He's running in 15th place. Last car running at 3 laps off the lead, but not a retirement. In 5 cars behind him that are retired. There's another battle brewing for 10th place. I think Ryan Verhulst got a penalty for speeding in pit lane, added 15 seconds to his pit lane time, put him behind Andrew Fawcett. Now he's trying to get back into the top 10. Bueller in front of our leaders runs very, very wide. Is he going to get out of the way and let them through, or will he rejoin in front of them? It's getting spicy right now for the lead and for 10th place.
Yeah, it is, I'm sure. Oh my goodness, very dangerous braking by by Alexander Bueller. He's giving Alex Albert, our leader, no break at all. So Jeff Tyler's got to work his way past Alexander Bueller right now. Alexander Bueller, I really think he's got to get out of the way. Jeff Tyler is not going to like this if Bueller is going to just, oh my goodness. Oh, when he hits Jeff Tyler. Jeff Tyler's been hit by the lap car Alexander Bueller. David, I hope he hasn't taken too much damage, but my goodness, he did not need that with 2 minutes left in this race.
Certainly not. That was not the most sporting behavior I've seen when you've got the lead battle for the race right behind you. Jeff Tyler is now still 8 tenths behind Alex Albert. Don't see any huge damage to that BMW, but not what either of these drivers needed. They'd prefer just clean tarmac in front of them to battle it out.
Yeah, clean tarmac, and that's what Jeff Tyler is about to have in front of him. If he can make this pass, Alex Albert has another very, very bad final sector here. So Jeff Tyler's going to have a nice run. We know this BMW is quick. Alex Albert making no joke about the defensive line. Wow, almost a bit of a double move there on the block. Jeff Tyler sees an opportunity and takes it. A little door banging. David, what a move by Jeff Tyler with just under 2 minutes left in this race.
Great traction from the BMW in the middle of the corner to be able to turn it back underneath Alex Albert. Little bit of a hip and shoulder in the middle of the corner. I think that was all fair though. And Jeff Tyler is back into the lead of this race. Tell you what, if he wins this, he'll deserve it, because that was a mega drive to catch back up and get through the little setback that he had as well. So Jeff Tyler back in the lead, Alex Albert in second. There's a battle brewing for 10th place as well.
Yeah, I'm going to pop back there with you. Yeah, so 10th and 11th, Andrew Fawcett in the fan favorite Ford GT is looking to hold off the far more modern-aged BMW Z4 here. So Ryan Verhulst working his way with a bit of a draft with just under a minute left in this race. Ryan Verhulst up 3 spots. Andrew Fawcett up 6 spots, starting from P16. So the fan favorite Ford GT is working its way, and we watch, both cars have a bit of moment in turn 1. Ryan Verhulst going inside. Is he going to take that final spot? David, I think they're going to go side by side again.
Yeah, Fawcett got a pretty good run around the outside, but I think in the end has yielded it a little bit. That BMW looks a lot more confident turning in. So from around the outside at the start of the S's, Verhulst takes 10th position. Fawcett, I'm not sure, had the tyres underneath him at that point. Jeff Tyler is going to come towards the start-finish line, and he's going to have one more lap. Alex Albert was so deep on the brakes, trying to take that away from him. Could not make it work. Desperation from Alex Albert as the white flag waves for our leaders. It's just 6-7 seconds on the clock as they did that. I'm not sure if that'll catch anyone out who was not expecting this race to go one lap further, but it is now the final lap of the race. Tyler leading, and Albert tried so hard into the Casio triangle, could not take that away at this point.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that just true final gung-ho effort into the Casio triangle there. I don't think he could have taken the breaking point any later. I'm sure that thing was to the floor, but I think Alex Albert knew that was his final chance if he could possibly shake Jeff Tyler, make a mistake. But David, I just feel with this final lap here, that gap almost 2 seconds, I think Alex Albert may have resided to his fate. But wow, what a drive tonight, and some very bold pit strategy. I don't want to take that away from this, but Jeff Tyler, a very dominant race starting P2 and have clawed all the way back. David, he was down 3 seconds after that pit stop, but Jeff Tyler with a very, very strong drive tonight.
Yep, indeed. Good pace, good strategy, and a cool head under pressure all race long. Alex Albert, I don't think second place is a bad result for him, with his title rival Giovanni Romano in 6th. Second is still a good haul of points for Albert. He needs to not throw this away, and I think he's resigned to that now. In the darkness, glowing brake rotors, headlights very clear. Conditions have changed a lot since the start of this race, but the running order up front hasn't since about lap 3. Tyler now leading Albert, despite the switch around through the pit stops.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly talk about some championship implications. Actually, David, let's hold off on that, as we're going to watch Jeff Tyler go through the Casio triangle one more time. Takes a full hop over the curb right there, clips the curb with the left side. And David, Jeff Tyler is going to be your winner tonight with a fantastic drive here at Suzuka, starting P2 all the way up to P1. Wow, what an impressive drive by Jeff Tyler tonight.
Yeah, Alex Albert couldn't quite hold on to it. He grabs second. Nate Franklin will come around to complete the podium. John Patrick's just 3 seconds behind him, but with 11 seconds more time in the pit lane. So podium was possible for John Patrick, as it was too for Alex Coffard, who grabs 5th place. Giovanni Romano in 6th place. That's where he started the race, so no huge disappointment for him. But he could have done better. Means that it's going to be an exciting final half of the championship.
Indeed. David, I'm keeping a quick eye on the battle for P9 and P10. David Hall and Ryan Verhulst are continuing to go at it. Ryan Verhulst was within about 3/10, but they just had a really, really bad middle sector here, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to claw that back entering the Casio Triangle for the final time unless he wants to be really bold on the brakes, and he's going for it. No, Dave, he's not going to be able to make that stick. So Ryan Verhulst with the strong drive tonight, up 4 spots. It looks like P10 is going to close out for him, and David Hall closing out of P9.
Yeah, and another couple cars left on the lead lap. Andrew Fawcett behind them in the lonely Ford, grab 11th, and Daniel Bartz, well, not his strongest race, but only one pit stop. No huge errors for him, so he'll grab 12th place, and Christopher Flamion in 14th. I think also yet to come around, but when they're done, that will complete our finishing order, which is locked in just about now, as Bartz is the second to last car to cross start-finish line. So your winner, Jeff Tyler. Second place, Alex Albert, completing the podium, Nate Franklin. And then fourth is John Patrick. Fifth goes to Alex Coffard. Sixth is Giovanni Romano. He will lose the lead of the championship at this point, I think, but it will remain very, very close at the top of the table. Seventh is Jeremy Rogers, and 8th is Shane Cameron. The battle we saw coming towards the line. 9th, David Hall holds onto it, and 10th place for Ryan Verhulst.
Yeah, and rounding out our second half of the field here, Andrew Fawcett, P11, up 5 spots on a great drive by Andrew Fawcett. Daniel Bartz, P12. Christopher Flamion up 2 spots in P13. Brian Malta with a very difficult night, down 6 spots in P14. Alexander Bueller, P15. Dylan Blanton, P16. Devin Peters, P17. A very difficult night for a very top points leader. Tommy Olson finished in P18. Jordan Babcock, Babs Nation, a very difficult night, P19. And Justin Lamons rounding out your field in P20.
Yep, exciting 60 minutes of racing here. And we're going to drop on down to the paddock, try and grab a word with some of our drivers. And the first one we're going to get is your race winner, Jeff Tyler. Jeff, decisive lap 1, turn 1 into the lead of the race. Tell us about that one.
Hey guys, excuse me. Hey, I think Cofford was just being a little cautious on lap 1, so he just broke early, and I didn't intend to make a move, but he broke early enough. I was like, oh, okay, better go for it. So I did.
And then a great battle, I think, all race long, really, with Alex Albert. There was a point that he looked a little bit faster than you, but just couldn't get by. What do you attribute that down to? Because obviously you're in a BMW and he had a Mercedes.
I attribute it to Alex being very nice and gentlemanly, because he was definitely faster. He could have got by, I think, if he really wanted to. The few times he tried to pass, I did my absolute best to protect my line and be defensive, kind of within the bounds of fairness. But yeah, was able to hold him off. But it was a really good race. It was really fun.
Pit strategy, you took 16 seconds of fuel and he took 10 seconds of fuel. Did you overfill it, or was he a wizard?
No, I underfilled at the start, so I started a few gallons less. In practice and qualifying, these guys were faster than I thought they would be, especially really surprised me with his pole time. So I was like, oh, okay, I better see if I can take some fuel out and maybe be a little faster than them in the first stint, maybe get the lead and build a gap. So that's what I was trying to do. And it didn't really work, unfortunately, but still able to get it back.
So your time again, you probably wouldn't go with that strategy?
I don't think so. Yeah, I would go start on the full fuel. Do the same as everyone else.
Congratulations on that win.
Thanks.
I think very well deserved and great racing.
Thanks,
deeper
guys.
in the race to take the lead away from Alex Albert.
Yeah, just great race to Alex too. He, like I said, he was a little faster, and it's always really nice racing with him. So thanks, Alex.
Well, Aaron, we'll go further down the order and see who you can grab a word with.
David, I have had a chance to grab Alex Albert, our P2 P2 driver tonight. Alex, we just had an opportunity to talk to Jeff, extremely complimentary of your driving tonight, and he flat out said, you know what, Alex was a lot quicker than me, so I think Alex was playing nice tonight. Alex, we were very impressed with your drive, more so impressed with your fuel strategy. Talk about your night tonight, and number one, what it was like keeping up with Jeff Tyler, and how much quicker were you? And two, talk about that pit strategy.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed to be behind Jeff. I think we all know that he's kind of washed up. So really wish I could have got ahead of him there. Made a couple looks early in the race, but raced with him long enough to know that it wasn't going to be easy to get past. So just tried to ride around and wait for Jeff to make a stop. Tried to go hammer time there for 4 or 5 laps and just ended up making too many mistakes and not pulling a big enough gap.
Well, Alex, I don't think you have anything to be disappointed about. Giovanni Romano didn't have a great night tonight, and neither did Thomas Ellison. So regardless of your finish tonight, it looks like you are going to be the points leader at the conclusion of this race. How does it make you feel?
And that's I'm happy about it. That's the goal, score points. So didn't really think this week was going to be that good for me. Thought it might favor Gio a little more. So, good to get out of here with second place points. Would have been nice to win 3 in a row, but you got to just take them as they come, and we'll move on to Legends Dirt here in a couple.
Well, Alex, we always enjoy having you in the booth. I think you're being a little hard on yourself for a fantastic drive tonight. So congratulations on a P2, sir, and it looks like likely now our points leader. Any thanks or shout-outs before you head out of the booth?
I just want to say thanks to all the huge ass guys, especially Jim and Derby, for helping me get the car ready. We'll be going racing at Watkins Glen here in a couple weeks with the Champ Car Series, and couldn't have done it without them. And appreciate everyone else's help remotely and whatnot, and you guys with the broadcast. So thanks again, and see you guys.
Thank you, Alex. We always appreciate the interview. David, it looks like you have grabbed yourself our third place driver, Nate Fleck.
Yeah, Nate, good run from you up into third place. Was a little bit more possible. What did you think of the BMW as a car selection for Suzuka?
I was mainly going for stability over pace or anything like that. Turned a couple laps in it to make sure I had a stable setup, and yeah, I liked what I felt. So I went with that car. It was stable, but I could also turn some relatively quick laps. So
Final step on the podium from 5th on the grid. That's a pretty good result, is it not?
yeah, I'm very pleased with that. I was a little puzzled as to why JP was so much faster out of the gate, but then after we stopped, I saw he took about 10 seconds more fuel than I did. So that explained he short filled at the start, so he was a lot faster during that first stint. But we made up the time, and then I was able to hold him off at the end.
You did battle against some cars of other manufacturers. Your thoughts on where the BMW is strong, maybe where the Mercedes is strong, and maybe the Audi, for example. What did you find through the race and through qualifying were the strengths of the different cars around this circuit?
I felt like the straight line speed for the BMW was lacking. I know Tom passed me going into the final chicane, and then JP had passed me into turn 1. I mean, the draft is also a factor, but and through some of the faster corners like turn 1, turn 2, I know I was able to pull a couple tenths on the Mercedes every lap. So definitely a couple areas where I could make up time, but the hairpin, I was struggling to not get some wheel spin, so I was giving up a little bit of time there. Laps.
Well, I think third place, yeah, not a bad result. I think your pit strategy was very, very clever as well, just nailing that one right. So any thanks from you, any shout outs while we got you on the broadcast?
Big shout out to the Huge S team. Looking forward to going racing with them in a few weeks. And yeah, big shout out to the guys working on the car down at the headquarters. Much appreciated, and look forward to seeing it in person.
Awesome. Well, thank you for dropping by, having a word with us. And of course, be able to watch on board live, I do believe, of that Champ Car event on this YouTube channel. So I think subscribing is the order of the day, because I'm very excited to watch those guys go race as well, Aaron.
I am excited as well. But David, let's not forget the fantastic racing we got to see tonight. We all were kind of joking in the broadcast booth and some of the pre-race. So this is the try hard race because this is a slight deviation from what RiL is known for: free tracks, free cars. A bit of a challenge tonight. Maybe some new feelings behind the wheel for some of these guys. But David, we're in for another very special one next week with the Phoenix Rallycross, which I think we're not unfamiliar with. But however, David, we will be in Dirt Legends. So as of with RAL, we're always never left with surprises with car and track combinations. But my goodness, are we in for a treat next week?
Yeah, innovators, aren't we? That's going to be a very interesting combination, and it definitely has the possibility to throw up some great racing. A combination you wouldn't normally see. A little bit of door-to-door unique layout. I'm looking forward to that one, and of course they'll catch that one live as well here on HJBC. I've been David Haynes, Aaron Thacker alongside me, Michael Derby with the cameras, the broadcast and the overlay, all of that good stuff, putting it all together. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you soon here from HJBC.